Hello students, welcome to Sri Jayendra's Ring Zone classes. I am your friend and mentor for coming classes with respect to physics. This is lecture number 6 of a unit, work, power and energy. So let's begin with today's session. Let's look at this question. Suppose the question is asked such that find out maximum compression in the spring, and the situation is given something like this, that this is rigid support with which one of the end of the spring has been attached, and let's say this is car, and this car is having mass of 500 kg, and it is moving in this direction towards the spring, and the velocity of the car, that is it's a 72 kilometer per hour, and you have been given the spring constant of the spring, which should be 1000 newton per meter. So what you need to find out is that you need to find out the maximum compression that is possible in the spring. This is what our requirement is. So how should I do this? But as I started, I need to convert this to a meter per second, because every other units are in the SI system. So this is 72 multiplied by 5 by 18, that should be equals to 20 meter per second. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? Is it? Great. Now before I begin, I need to show you the tactics with which we need to understand and we need to think every time, each time when we are going to use energy conservation. First thing what you need to understood is that how could I came to an answer of kinetic energy, that what kinetic energy is there, or whether kinetic is energy is there or not. So what we need to understand everything is that if object is in motion, it could have it could have kinetic energy. A first thing, but if object is at rest, that means it must not have that means it must not have kinetic energy. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? Is it? Are you sure? So this is very first thing, that to get an answer of kinetic energy, that what amount of kinetic energy or how much kinetic energy would be there, this will give me the answer, that whether it is in motion, it could have kinetic energy. If the object is at rest, that means object is not moving, then no, it doesn't have any kinetic energy. I hope this is clear. Now let's take an answer of potential energy. So when I say, or when I take a decision about the potential energy, we must consider that potential energy could be of two types. Potential energy could be of two types. First, it would be a gravitational potential energy, and the second, it would be an elastic potential energy. Now, how could I get an answer? How could I get an answer for the gravitational potential energy? So, if certain object is at reference point, then gravitational potential energy is zero. If it is at certain height h, then gravitational potential energy would be equals to mgh. Yes, this is all about the gravitational potential energy, that if certain object is there which has been placed at a certain point, and that point is being assumed, that point is being assumed at the reference line or reference point, then its gravitational potential energy is zero. But if it is at certain height from that reference level, if it is at certain height from that reference level, then the gravitational potential energy could be given as mgh. Now what about the elastic potential energy? So elastic potential energy develops in the spring if it has been if it has been compressed or expanded. It means if no compression or expansion, then elastic potential energy would be zero. If no compression or expansion is there, then elastic potential energy would be zero for sure. If compression or expansion is there, if compression or expansion is there, then work done or energy stored in the spring could be written as half into k into x square. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? So now I hope you will have a answer that whether this object is having kinetic energy or not, whether this object is having potential energy or not. So let's back to the question, numerical that we were calculating, and try to solve this. It's 1,000 Newton per meter. A car was there, and which is moving in this direction. Mass that is of 500 kg, and velocity that was given was the 72 kilometer per hour. But as we have calculated to an SI system, it's a 20 meter per second. So now what the situation would be? The situation would be car is moving in this direction. Us at certain stage, car is going to collide to this spring, and car is going to moving on. At a certain stage, a situation arise, then car came to rest. It's a v equals to 0. And when this stage will come, spring will be having its maximum compression. It is the situation when total kinetic energy of the car has been shifted, has been transferred to the total potential energy of the spring. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? Is it? Great. So let's write it down. How should I can have this is location as an A, this location as a B. So what I can do is I can write like this. It's a total energy at A that should be is equals to total energy at B. And when I write total energy at A is equals to total energy at B, I can have it's a potential energy. It's a potential energy at A plus kinetic energy at A, that should be equals to potential energy at B plus kinetic energy at B. Now potential energy at A, tell me, when car is at position A, when car is at position A, does spring have any compression or expansion? Does it have anything? No. Great. So its potential energy would be 0. At position A, does it have a kinetic energy? Yes, my car is having an energy. It's an half mv square. That should be equals to, at position B, velocity is 0. When velocity is 0, my kinetic energy is 0. Potential energy, yes, I could write it's a half k x square. In fact, this is maximum compression. Is it clear? Is it? Is it clear? So now let's just solve this. It's an half mv square. That should be is equals to half k x square. This 2 would gone. This half has gone. And the x square would be written as mv square divided by k. So mass it's a 500, velocity it's a 20, so it's a 20 square, 20 into 20 divide by k. K is the 1000. Yes, so this is 500, twos are 1000, and 2 tens are 20. So this is x square should be equals to 20 into 10, it's a 200. If I go for the x, it would be a root of 200, which could be approximately 14.14 meter. I hope this is clear. So this spring, this spring can be compressed maximum by 14.14 meter, or I can say so that at, at the position when spring has been compressed by 14.14 meter, a car will come to rest. Before that car must be having velocity. It is just transacting, that kinetic energy of the car is being transferred, kinetic energy of the car is being transferred to the potential energy of the spring. Is it clear? Is it? Great. So let's add something to this question, and you think over it. That let's suppose that in the previous question, find out kinetic energy, find out kinetic energy of car when when spring has been compressed by 10 meter. So in this question you need to find out the kinetic energy of the car. You need to find out the kinetic energy of the car when spring has been compressed by 10 meter. So let's have a sketch of it and we'll try to get it done. Let's first make the sketch of it. So the situation could be something like this, that this was the spring and this was the car, and as it is moving from here with a speed of, the mass was given that is of 500 kg, and this v was the 20 meter per second. Now as it is going to collide with it, as it is going to collide with it, it is not the situation when complete kinetic energy has been transferred, but it is the situation when it is just converting. So at this instant it has been compressed by the 10 meter. You need to find out the kinetic energy over here. So you can say it's a location A, it's a location B, and think over it that what you will do. Think for it. You have a 30 seconds for this. Yes, what you will do, what is supposed to be done, tell me. So so what I understand is that this spring, the spring can be compressed maximum by 14.14 meter in this case. Yes, that when this car is moving with this much speed, it can compress the spring by 14.14 meter. But when it was the situation, so at x equals to 14.14 meter, velocity of the car will be equals to 0. I hope this is clear. So, and at x equals to 10 meter, we can say that kinetic energy of the car is being transferred is being transferred to the potential energy of spring. I hope these things are clear. That at x equals to 10 meter, when we were used to have this at x equals to 10 meter, it is just in the process to transferring kinetic energy of the car. Kinetic energy of the car is being transferred to the potential energy of the spring. So let's have a situation like this. It's a total energy at A that should be equals to total energy at B. When I say B, it's a x equals to 10 meter. So we can have something like this, that this potential energy at A plus kinetic energy at A, that should be equals to potential energy at B plus kinetic energy at B. While I say potential energy at A, the spring was not compressed, neither it has been compressed, neither it has been stretched. So this is 0 plus, I should say, half mv square should be equals to potential energy at B. It should be written as half into k into x1 square plus kinetic energy at B. That is what I required. It's an half into m into v1 square. Is it clear? Is it? So let's put up the value and try to get it done. It's a 1 by 2 multiplied by 500 multiplied by v square, that should be equals to 400. That should be equals to half into k, it was the 1000, multiplied by x square, it was the 100, x was 10, plus half into mass, it's a 500 multiplied by v1 square. So this could be written as that this 2 and this 400, this could be the 200, this 2 and this 1000 could be written as 500. So this is 500 into bracket 200 minus of 100 is equals to 1 by 2 multiplied by 500 into v1 square. I hope this is clear. Yes. Now this 500 and this 500 can be cancelled out, and this 200 minus 100, this 200 minus 100, it would be an 100. So this v1 square should be equals to 200, and this v1 could be written as 14.14 meter per second. So when spring has been compressed, by 10 meter, a car is having a velocity of 14.14 meter per second. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? Is it? Any concern, any doubts in this? Anything? Are you all clear? Are you sure? Are you sure? Great. So let's work for the next question. The question we are discussing is very important question. Look at this very carefully. Let's suppose the situation is something like this, that a spring is there. It's one of the end has been connected with the rigid support, another end has been connected with the mass m, and let's suppose this mass m is being rested on certain table, and this spring is having a spring constant of k. So let's suppose they ask that when spring, or when I should say when block m, or when the support of block m has been removed suddenly, then find out maximum expansion of the spring. So the situation is that when this initially the support was there, and when the support was there, the spring is neither stretched neither compressed, so initially it is at rest. And when it is at rest, that means it does not have any potential energy stored with itself. But when I'm going to remove this, let's suppose I have been removed this, so what the situation will happen, that this is the situation. And yes, let's suppose this is the initial situation, so this is the expansion of the spring, and it has been expanded, let's suppose, by an x amount. So when and when, very important thing, when and when they want a maximum expansion or compression, always go for the energy conservation. When and when they ask for the maximum expansion, always go for the energy conservation. First thing, is it clear? Is it clear? So what we can write is that work done due to spring force should be is equals to m into g into x, and energy stored in the spring could be written as 1 by 2 into k into x square. So this mgx could be equated to the half kx square, and if this could be equated to half kx square, this x and this x has gone, and this x max should be given as 2 mg by k. Please do remember this thing. A very important thing is, when and when they ask for the maximum expansion, go for the energy conservation, not equilibrium of the forces. I again telling you that when and when maximum expansion or maximum compression has been asked in the question, always go for the energy conservation. Is it clear? Is it? Great. Now let's look at the same question, but with certain different data. It says that in the previous question, find out expansion of spring. Find out expansion of spring when block is in equilibrium after removal of support. So when support has been removed, a stage will come when it is in equilibrium. A stage will come when the block M is in equilibrium. We need to find out the expansion of the spring. So when support has been removed, the situation would be something like this. This is block M. It is having two forces, that this, let's have a free body diagram of M. It is having a force mg over here, and one force, it's a restoring force, kx. This kx would be on the upward direction, and as they say that it is in equilibrium. So we can have, it's a kx should be equals to mg. Kx equals to mg, and from this we can write it's an x is equals to mg by k. Is it clear? Is it is it clear? Yes. So this is the equilibrium, and when in the previous question they were asking for the equilibrium, they were not asking for the equilibrium, they were asking for the maximum. I hope this is clear. So do not commit a mistake. Do not commit a mistake such as you are supposed to land on the mg by k answer when they have asked for the maximum compression or maximum expansion. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? So this is the case of an equilibrium, and generally they are asking the cases of maximum or minimum compression. So now will you be able to solve this? Are you sure? Can it be done? Are you sure? Great. Let's work for the next question. Let's suppose block is there and this block is having mass m, and here a spring is there, and this end of the spring has been connected with the rigid support. This is the K, and this height is h. This is the h height. So what you need to do is you need to find out velocity of block when spring has been compressed by x. So what you need to do is that find out the velocity. You need to find out the velocity of the block when spring has been compressed by x. And even one more thing is given, that initially spring is in its natural length. That initially spring is in its natural length, and you need to find out the velocity. You need to find out the velocity of the block when the spring has been compressed by x. So how will you do this? How should I? How should I? So what I understood is that let's suppose the situation would be that this is the rigid support, and when block has been released from here u equals to 0, it is going to be over here, and then it is starts compressing the spring. Is it clear? Is it clear? So let me show you the situation, that it might get concept more clearer. That at this point, at the very beginning, this is the situation. Yes, this is height h, and block is over here. From now it is going to be released by u equals to 0. So the situation would be that when it has been released from here, this is the base level. The spring is being compressed by this, and this block would be over here. This was the level from where I have measured the h, and now block is here. When block is here, even this is distance x, this is m. I hope this is clear. So what I can say is, this is k. Yes, that it's a loss of gravitational potential energy would be equals to gain in elastic potential energy plus kinetic energy. Is it clear? Now loss in the gravitational potential energy, that it was at here and it is moving in the downward direction. So that could be written as mg into bracket h plus x. That should be is equals to gain in elastic potential energy, it's an half kx square, plus kinetic energy, it would be an half mv square. Is it clear? Is it? Great. So what I can write, it's an mgh plus mgx, that should be equals to half kx square plus half mv square. So this is mgh plus mgx minus half kx square should be equals to half mv square. And when I write this, and if I get it done, it's a velocity that could be given as under root of 2g into bracket h plus x minus of k into x square divided by m. This is the velocity when block has been compressed by the when block has traveled and the spring has been compressed by x. So when spring has been compressed by x, velocity of the block would be given as shown. I hope it is clear. Yes. Do you get the same answer? Do you? Are you sure? Do you enjoying it? Great. Let's have a fun. So, shall I add something to this? Shall I? Let's have a look. That let's work for the maximum compression. So, let's focus over here. It says that in the previous question, in the previous question, find out, find out maximum compression of the spring. You need to find out that what maximum compression could spring have when it has been, when block has been released from u is equals to 0. So what we understood is that when compression is maximum, when compression is maximum, block M must be at rest. Is it clear? So when and when compression would be maximum, when and when compression would be maximum, block would be at rest, that is for sure. And so that it would be the loss in gravitational potential energy is equals to the gain in the elastic potential energy. So this could be written as mg into bracket h plus x, that should be equals to half kx square, and that could be written as 2mgh plus 2mgx, that should be is equals to k into x square. Is it clear? Does it clear? I hope this is clear. Now if I solve this, let's try to do this. It's a kx square minus of 2mgx minus of 2mgh, that should be equals to 0. So this is ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0. And from this, as you understand, that this is the quadratic equation, and that quadratic equation should be having a two roots, that alpha beta that needed to be calculated, it's a minus of b plus minus root of delta divided by 2a. Delta could be calculated basis on the delta is equals to b square minus of 4ac. So from this x max can be calculated as it's an mg divided by k plus, because I want the maximum, you will have a two answer which is of plus or minus, then you need to choose the one which is maximum. It's an mg by k plus m square g square divided by k square plus 2mgh divided by k. This is the maximum, this is the maximum compression of the spring when block M has been released from rest, and it is going to fall on the spring. So is it clear? Is it clear? Does it? Are you sure? Are you sure? Shall we move to the next question? Shall we? Great. Let's have a look then. So now let's suppose a certain table is there, and on this table a chain is lying, something like this, and certain section of chain is hanging over there. Yes. So it says that as shown in the figure, L length of chain, L length of chain is hanging vertically from the table, what you need to do, you need to first calculate the potential energy at at this instant. This is my first question. And my second question should be, if we are allowing chain to let it go, to let go, find out, find out its speed when when it just leaves, when it just leaves the horizontal surface. I hope this is clear. When I say so, when I say so, m, when I say so, m would be the total, m would be the total mass of chain, and L, it's a total length of chain. So this is your question. Then it says that the chain is given and the total mass of that chain is capital M, total length of the chain is capital L, and the part that is hanging, the part that is hanging, it is having a length L. So what I need to do is, let's work for the first question initially, and then we will move to the second question. So what they are supposed to ask is that when part L is hanging, when part L is hanging from the chain, you need to you need to calculate its potential energy when L length is hanging. So let's work over it. That this was my situation. This is the chain and this segment is hanging. So what I understood is my master relation would be equals to potential energy would be equals to mgh. Again, I need to consider this as a negative, because if I am assuming that this is h equals to 0, this is below it, and below it, that's why I'm going to take it negative. So now how could I write down the mass? How could I write down the mass? What I need to do is that mass is total mass m divided by total length L, multiplied by you have used this much section, this is L, multiplied by G multiplied by H. Now how should I calculate H? It is just the center of mass of this position, and it is at the length L by 2. So this is multiplied by L by 2, and if we are if we are solving this, it's a potential energy that should be is equals to minus of m g L square divide by 2 into L. This is the potential energy. This is the potential energy, which could be written as minus of mgl square divided by 2L. Is it clear? Is it? Are you sure? Now let's work for the second question. It says that now if this chain is let it go, if the chain is allowed to move freely and it is moving in the downward direction, what would be the velocity? So if I compare the initial situation and final situation, this was the initial situation when again it is at rest, and the chain was something like this, that initially it is at rest, and finally the thing would something like this, it would be falling from here. So this is the initial situation and this is the final situation. So what I understood is that according to the energy conservation, total energy initial, that should be equals to the total energy final. While I say total energy, I mean it's a potential energy initial plus kinetic energy initial that should be equals to potential energy final plus kinetic energy final. Is it clear? So when I say potential energy initial, I have calculated it's minus of mgl square divided by 2l. As it said initially at rest, kinetic energy would be a 0. Potential energy final, what it would be? Final potential energy, it would be that when it is going to be dropped, that is this length would be equals to L by 2, and complete mass is going to be used, so this is equals to minus of mgl by 2 plus half mv square. Is it clear? Is it is it clear? Any doubts, any issues, anything? Anything? No? Great. So let's just try to solve this. That could be written as minus of mgl square divided by 2l is equals to minus of mgl by 2 plus half mv square, and we can cancel this and this m could be gone, and we can have it's a v should be equals to root of g into bracket l minus l square divided by l. This would be the final answer. Is it clear? Is it is it clear? Are you sure? Are you are you sure? Great. So let's just move to the next question quickly. Let's have a look that this is the next question. That what does it says? It says that it is about the pendulum, that if something is like here, that this is the pendulum and this bob is having mass m, and it is given a velocity v. If due to this velocity it can go up to here, if due to this velocity it can go up to here, something like this, and let's suppose this angle is theta. So it says that, as shown in the figure, as shown in the figure, bob is having mass m, given velocity v. It has been given velocity v, due to which it can go maximum at at position c. Yes, this is the position a, this is c, and one more position would be there, which I can show something like this, that this that this is the position b, and this angle, let's say this angle can be represented as theta 1. So what you need to do is you need to find out first velocity of the bob. First you need to find out the velocity of bob at at position b, and at second question is that that could be it's an find out angular displacement, when bob is at position c. So you need to find out angular displacement when bob is at position c. So this is required. So let's work for the first situation, velocity of the bob at position B, and then we will move to the next question. So let's begin then. That it was the situation that this was the pendulum. Let me redraw this. Yes, and from this it has been displaced up to here. This was given as theta 1. So what I can do, I can have two locations, one is the A, another is the B. This could be assumed as a reference line, so this would be assumed as a h equals to 0, and from this I can have that is the total energy at A should be equals to total energy at A should be equals to total energy at B. While I say total energy at A, I mean it's a potential energy at A plus kinetic energy at A. That should be equals to potential energy at B plus kinetic energy at B. If it is something like this, then potential energy at A, this would be the 0 because it is on the reference line, plus kinetic energy at A, which could be it's a half into m into v square. That should be equals to potential energy at B. Potential energy at B could be written as mgl into bracket 1 minus cos theta 1 plus kinetic energy at B, that is equals to half into m into v dash square. I hope this is clear. Yes, this is that we have discussed this when we were discussing the potential energy. So this is, let's just solve this. It's a v square by 2 should be equals to gl into bracket 1 minus cos of theta 1 plus v dash square divided by 2. So this v dash should be equals to, v dash is equals to, this is under root of v square minus of 2gl into bracket 1 minus cos theta 1. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? Is it? Are you sure? Are you? Great. So now let's work for the next question. It was said that this was the situation and it has been maximum displaced from here to here. This was the angle theta, and this is the angular displacement we are looking for. So let's suppose this is the total energy at A, this is the total energy at B. So let's begin. It's a total energy at A that should be equals to total energy at B. So it's a potential energy at A plus kinetic energy at A should be potential energy at B plus kinetic energy at B. When I say potential energy plus kinetic energy at point A, this is 0. At point B, it's an half mv square, and that should be equals to, at potential energy at B, it is the mgl into bracket 1 minus cos theta, and its kinetic energy would be 0 because at this instant V would be 0. So this is 0. So this could be written as this m and m has gone, this m gone, and the term that remain, it's the v square, should be equals to 2gl into bracket 1 minus cos theta. So this is v square by 2gl, this is equals to 1 minus cos theta, and from this cos theta is equals to 1 minus v square by 2gl. So from this theta could be equals to cos inverse of 1 minus v square divided by 2gl. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? This is the maximum angular displacement can be achieved with this velocity to this bob. So let's just wind it up this session over here. This is all about the energy conservation. Practice a lot of this question because this will not help only in the work power energy. Many a situation will come when we are going to have only one approach, that is equals to total energy at one location would be equals to the total energy at the another location. Yes, we are using the concept in gravitation, we are using the same concept in the class 12, it's an electric charge and field, and many more locations. So please do it, please revise this very carefully, please attempt at least 70 to 80 questions based on this concept. This will help us to have a command over it. Thank you, have a good day, take care, bye bye.
In today's session, we are going to discuss about the law of conservation of energy. So let's begin with the law of conservation of energy. In reality, it's a law of conservation of mechanical energy. It says that the total mechanical energy of a system is constant, and if the internal forces doing work on it are conservative and the external force does no work at all. So what does it say? It says that when a body undergoes a displacement delta x under the action of a conservative forces F, then the change in the kinetic energy of the body is given by the work energy theorem. We already discussed about this, that change in kinetic energy would be equals to the work done due to all the forces. This is work done or total work done, that should be equals to change in kinetic energy. As the force is conservative, the change in the potential energy can be written as minus of delta U. It's a minus of delta U, that should be is equals to Fx into delta x. So in first relation we have it's an Fx delta x, that should be equals to change in kinetic energy. This was the relation that we have discussed in the previous slide. In this slide we have relation that Fx delta x, that should be is equals to negative of change in potential energy. From this, if I compare or if I equate this Fx delta x, it's a total work done, that should be is equals to change in kinetic energy would be equals to negative of change in potential energy. And from this I can have the relation that change in kinetic energy plus change in potential energy would be equals to 0. So if the change is 0, please do understand this is what we call as the change in kinetic energy plus change in potential energy equals to 0. So if change is 0, that means we can say that mechanical energy is constant. While we are discussing this, we are interested in two parts. One of them it's a potential energy, another one is the kinetic energy. We are discussing these two energies. One is the potential energy, another is the kinetic energy, and we say that summation of potential energy and kinetic energy is always constant. So it means if the kinetic energy of the body increases, its potential energy decreases by an equal amount and vice versa. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? This is the newer version of the energy conservation that you have studied in probably in class 9th, class 8, that total energy of the universe remains constant and energy neither be created nor be destroyed, it is only to be converted from one form to another. This is the same format. Here we are interested and here we are discussing on the basis of kinetic energy plus potential energy. That is only the difference. So let's have some practical examples of life, and through which we are going to discuss the law of conservation of energy, and then we will move to the practical applications of numericals. So let's first take a case of law of conservation of energy in the case of a freely falling body. Let's assume that a ball of mass m is dropped. The situation would be something like this. This is height h, and from here a ball having mass m is being dropped. So this is u equals to 0 from height h. So we will say that total mechanical energy of the ball would be E, and while I say E, I will represent that it is the summation of kinetic energy plus potential energy. Now we are going to consider some of the points at different heights. Let's look at this. We have considered 3 points. One is the at A, that is at the maximum height. At C it's a ground point, and at B somewhere at the height of x from the ground level. So what we consider, what we need to do is we need to do the very basic thing. At every point I am just going to check kinetic energy plus potential energy at here. At point B, kinetic energy plus potential energy, and at point C even I am going to check the kinetic energy plus potential energy. My focus would be this only, that I need to check these three energies and I'm going to add this. Simply it is as simple as that. So let's understood that we know that a ball is being dropped at point A. As it is being dropped, its velocity would be 0, and if velocity would be the 0, the kinetic energy of the object at position A would be 0. So the kinetic energy of the ball at point A is 0. Here u is equals to 0, that means kinetic energy half mv square would be equals to 0. Now let's just find out the potential energy of the ball at point A. If I consider this as a ground level, then this is at height h, and the potential energy at point A can be recognized as m into g into h. So the total energy, we are saying total energy at point A, that would be equals to potential energy plus kinetic energy, which could be an mgh plus 0. So the total energy at point A would be equals to mgh plus 0, that is the mgh. I hope this is clear. Now let's just recognize the same situation, understood the same situation at point B. It is at this position. So now ball has been dropped from here at point A, and now the ball is about to reach at point B. So let's just check it out. Let's just find it out, the velocity at point B, and distance had traveled by the ball is the x. So let's just find it out, the velocity at point B. We can write the relation, it's a v square minus of u square is equals to 2 into a into s. So final velocity, it's a vb square, initial velocity, it's a 0, a could be replaced by the g and s could be by s. So this is vb square minus 0 is equals to 2 into g into x, and from this I can have the relation that vb square that should be is equals to 2 into g into x. Kinetic energy, this is just the velocity square. I required the kinetic energy at that point, so I must have it's in half m into square of the velocity at location B. Let's just replace the value. It's in kinetic energy is equals to half into m into 2gx. If I am replacing the value, I am having the kinetic energy which is equals to m into g into x. This is, I'm talking at point B. Now what I required is potential energy at point B. So potential energy at point B could be written as mg h dash, and this h dash can be represented by h minus x, because this is the ground level, and from this, if I have taken this as a reference, then this is the height which is h minus x. So if I replace the value, it's a potential energy which could be given as m into g into h minus x, and this could be written as mgh minus of mgx. Total energy at point B could be written as, this is the kinetic energy and this is the potential energy. Let's just add it. If I'm going to add it, it's an mgx plus mgh minus mgx. This 2 would be gone, and if this 2 would be gone, I am having total energy which would be equals to mgh. So at position A, you received the total energy as mgh. At position B, you have received the potential energy plus kinetic energy as an mgh. Now let's just confirm this. At point C. So let's just try to find it out, everything. While we say everything, we are going to work for the kinetic energy plus potential energy. So let's just calculate the velocity at point C. How could I get it done? As simple as that, we have a relation which is v square minus of u square equals to 2gh. It has been dropped from here, so u is equals to 0. So vc square should be equals to 2 into g into h, and the kinetic energy, that should be equals to half mv square. V square has been replaced by 2gh, so this 2 has gone, and the kinetic energy at point C could be given as m into g into h. Now what is the potential energy at point C? When I say potential energy, we have the relation, it is m into g into h dash. It is m into g into h dash. Now when I say at point C, this has been taken as a reference on every time. So from these, all other heights has been measured. So this is h equals to 0. So let's put up this h equals to 0, so we can have at point C h equals to 0, and when h is equals to 0, so potential energy would be 0. Now let's just add it. It's a total energy equals to potential energy plus kinetic energy, and that can be given as 0 plus mgh would be equals to mgh. I hope these things are clear. So if you look at all three locations, this is we have proved, this is we have proved, now even this is we have proved. I have written only the potential total energy, sorry. This is the value of total energy at point A, this is the value of total energy at point B, and this is the value of total energy at point C. So from these three relations, we can say that at any point on the path of a freely falling body, the total energy is constant. Thus, the law of conservation of energy is verified. This is just the verification purpose. What you need to do is, it is as simple as that. You need to write out that total energy of the system is going to be constant. I am talking about the total energy. I cannot say the same thing for potential energy alone or kinetic energy alone. So when and when I say so, I will always use energy conservation, not even only in the work power energy, but this is the case in many of the units. When you study the gravitation, even in that point of time, you are having the same kind of situation, that total gravitational energy, that means the potential energy plus kinetic energy at certain location is equals to the total energy at some another location. In the class 12, even there are certain instances where we are going to have electrostatic potential energy plus electrostatic kinetic energy. So law of energy of conservation, this is very useful tool to get it done, to get the numericals very easily. So please look at this very carefully and understood this very carefully, and we need to apply it in a very good manner so that things can be done. Now let's just take one more chance to get it done. That now I'm going to prove this law of conservation of energy in case of vertically upward projected body. That means now I'm going to throw this ball from here with a velocity of u, and I'm just going to check that whether total energy, or I should say total mechanical energy, is being conserved or not. So let's begin the journey. It says that a ball of mass m is projected vertically up from the ground with an initial velocity of u from the point A. From here I have thrown it in the vertically upward direction. Again we are doing the same thing. A, B and C, these three points have been chosen. B is at the height x from the ground level, and C is at the height h. This is the maximum height. This is C is the maximum height that I have chosen. Now, so let's just calculate the situation at point B. When and when I'm going to do this, I'm going to interested in two things. It's a potential energy and kinetic energy. I'm interested in this too. So let's throw this ball from position A. It should be equals to v square minus u square is equals to minus of 2gx. So this is equals to vb square is equals to u square minus of 2gx. Kinetic energy should be written as half into m into v square. Let's just replace the value of vb square. So this is equals to kinetic energy is equals to half into m into u square minus 2gx, which should be written as kinetic energy. This is kinetic energy at position B. That should be is equals to half mvu square minus of mgx. Is it clear? Now let's just calculate the potential energy at this point. This is taken as a reference, and from here I will take h is equals to 0. So at this position I should take h is equals to x. So I understand that potential energy is equals to mg h dash, from h is measured from the ground level, and here h is equals to x. So potential energy should be equals to m into g into x. So the total energy could be written as potential energy plus kinetic energy. Total energy can be written as it's an mgx plus half mu square minus of mgx, this mgx, and this mgx has gone, and the total energy could be written as the half mu square. This is the value of total energy I have written over here so that we can check it. So at position B, I have received the total energy which is at half mu square. Now let's just check this. Let's just check this at point C. So at point C, the ball reaches the maximum height, and when I say it's a maximum height, at this point velocity would be 0, that we know from the motion in a straight line unit number 3. So at this point Vc equals to 0. Vc is equals to 0, and when Vc equals to 0, I can have the relation, this is kinetic energy, that should be equals to half into m into Vc square. Yes, but kinetic energy would be a 0, but I am having a potential energy, and that potential energy would be equals to mgh, while h could be written as u square by 2g. So if I replace this value, it's an mg multiplied by h. This is equals to u square by 2g. This g has gone, and this is total energy. Because the kinetic energy is already 0 and I am working for the potential energy, it's an half mu square. So here, total energy was the half mu square. Even on point C, total energy is at half mu square. You can look this directly, that at this position it is taken as a reference, so potential energy is 0 because it is considered as a reference, and kinetic energy, it's an half mu square because it is the only energy. So even at here, total energy at half mu square. So just compare this at position A, at position B, and at position C. Every time the total energy is half mu square, and half mu square. I hope these things are clear. Is it clear? So we understood that we can use energy conservation when required, but the condition is you need to check for the both the energy. When I say both the energy, I mean you need to use kinetic energy as well as potential energy to do this. I hope this is clear. Is it clear? Let's have certain MCQs. It says that the total work done on a particle is equal to change in its kinetic energy. The total work done total, should be equals to change in the kinetic energy. This is applicable if only if the forces acting on it are conservative, only if gravitational forces acts alone it, only if elastic forces alone acts on it. For any kind of forces acting on it, yes, this would be the correct option. Yes, even if you remember the work energy theorem, we have discussed this in very detail, that when I say total work done, I am going to include each and every kind of force. Even I will include those forces whose name even doesn't know to me. Yes, so this is work done due to all the category of forces. While I say all the category, I mean work done due to conservative, work done due to non-conservative, work done due to real, work done due to pseudo, and every other forces. Yes, please keep this in mind. Let's have a second question. The work done by the all the forces, could be external and internal, on a system equals the change in, yes, kinetic energy. That's it. I hope you understand this very well. Is it clear? Is it great?